Hi, it's Nikki Lowe and welcome to the Wisdom for Working Mums podcast show. I'm your host, and for nearly 2 decades now, I've been an executive coach and leadership development consultant. And on this show, I share evidence-based insights from my coaching, leadership and psychological expertise, and inspiring interviews that help women like you to combine your work, life and motherhood in a more successful and sustainable way. Join me and my special guests as we delve into leadership and lifestyle topics for women, empowering you to thrive one conversation at a time. I'm so happy that you're here, and let's get on with today's episode. Welcome to this episode. The eagle-eyed amongst you in my community may have spotted that there's been something going on behind the scenes with my business. And today I'm excited to share the details with you because these changes impact you. So I think you're going to want to hear about them. And in this episode, I wanted to pull back the curtain and share these changes with you and the rationale behind them. You see, as Wisdom for Working Mums continues to grow and evolve, my mission remains at the heart of the business to support women like you to thrive in work, life and motherhood. And as you know, it's a mission that's close to my own heart. And now more than ever, I'm committed to helping you achieve more success with less stress. And personally, I just want to say, can we take a moment to appreciate how far we've come together? For many of you, you've been following my podcast right from the beginning, 6 years ago. And the intention was always to empower women to break down barriers, achieve their highest potential, and lead confidently and with purpose while enjoying their families and their personal lives. But it hasn't always been a smooth journey. And I've gone on quite an evolution over those last 6 years. But let's rewind back a bit. So I think you can join the dots back in 2005. And at the time, I was working in a corporate job as a global account director in the tech sector. And I was managing global account teams and was responsible for selling complex, high-end IT solutions to large corporate clients. And I was leading teams doing that. And it was a big job. And I loved parts of that job, particularly the leadership aspect and about having the team and creating a high performing team, but not the selling part of it. And it led me to feel like I was a corporate prisoner, stuck in a role that didn't quite fit. I was almost locked into this big job with an amazing kind of salary and all the benefits that go along with that, the company car, the stock share scheme and all of that amazing stuff. But in my heart, I knew I wasn't in the right role. And I kept thinking, do you know what? If I just work harder and learn more, it'll become easier. And I think I was running harder and faster trying to make it work. And it got to the point where my soul was like screaming out. It just knew that my life force was being drained out of me. And I decided to book an amazing holiday. And you may have heard me tell this story before, but it's such a pivotal one in my journey that, I decided to book a holiday with my then boyfriend, who's now my husband. And we booked to go to the Maldives, thought, an amazing holiday in the Maldives will kind of sort me out. And it was while on that holiday in the most beautiful, stunning island that I received a call a week into a 2-week holiday to say that my mum had died suddenly and really unexpectedly. And it was 24 hours before I could get a flight home. And in those 24 hours, I decided I needed to make some changes in my life. And a big part of that was leaving my corporate role. And I'd known at that point that I'd got this passion for coaching. I'd done a training course at work on managing cross-cultural teams, and they'd done a part on coaching. And I'd realised it was my natural leadership style. And it was something that I really loved. And I'd gone off and done some training, some basic training in coaching. And I'd gone out and hired my own executive coach, some of you may have heard me tell that story, who I now do work with, the amazing Laura. And coaching was life changing because I knew that I long term wanted to become an executive coach, but had kind of put it out into the distance, thought I just need to do another couple of years in corporate and retrain. And while I was still employed, what I decided to do instead when I got that life changing news that my mum had died was I took a year out and I retrained as an executive coach, and I launched my business in 2006. So nearly 20 years ago, I launched a business called Illuminate. And so I made that bold move to leave corporate life and set up my own business. And under the brand Illuminate, I've been supporting organizations with leadership development and executive coaching for nearly 2 decades now. And I've had the privilege to support some of the world's best known companies. And over the first probably 7 years of my business, I got to travel the world doing that work, and it was incredible. And then about 11 years ago, when I had my first child, I had to rethink my work, like many of you. I became the default parent and what I call the flex point in my family. So my husband also ran his own big business, and we decided that it was easier because I didn't have staff, whereas he had a big kind of business, that it was easier for me to be the flex point. And that meant that I needed to reshift my work, and traveling around the country and overseas was no longer an option. And I refined my work to be more local based, to do more executive coaching than the leadership development stuff, because that tended to take me away from home and overnight. But as many of you will have heard, about a year after returning back to work after my firstborn, I experienced burnout. And it was that journey of recovery on burnout, to get fiercely curious about how it happened, learning about the psychobiological, so the personal things and the individual things that influence my burnout, but also those psychosocial, so the systemic issues that influenced it. All that learning became the foundation for Wisdom for Working Mums. And I had this idea about sharing my learning, and decided that after my first child, when I got diagnosed with secondary infertility, I was told that I couldn't have any more children. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to birth this idea into the world, this idea of Wisdom for Working Mums. And so I started to put together this podcast and a blog, and then found out I was pregnant with my second child. So the most beautiful surprise. But it kind of threw me a bit. I was like, oh, I've got this idea for a business. What do I do? I've now found out I'm pregnant. And I thought, if I don't put this business out into the world, I may never do it. So I launched it literally 6 weeks before I gave birth to my second child, who's now 6. So over that time, I just started off with the blog and the podcast. And the idea was that I was going to support women personally. So up until that point, my work had been through organizations. So organizations would hire me to come in and coach somebody or support them as a leader. And with Wisdom for Working Mums, the idea was to support women, particularly those that wouldn't get access to a coach or leadership development directly through their employer, to offer them the resources. And so my Wisdom for Working Mums brand was always going to be what I call business to consumer, business to you as an individual. However, over the years, my work has taken me as much into corporate organizations as it has into working privately with women. And in some organizations, the Wisdom for Working Mums brand hasn't always felt right, because sometimes when I'm talking to organizations, the agenda's more about working parents, and the mum element didn't feel inclusive. And also at other times when I was working with organizations on female leadership, I was speaking with women who may or may not have children. So it was getting a bit complicated around, am I wearing my Wisdom for Working Mums hat, or am I wearing my Illuminate hat? So over the past 2 years, I've been reflecting on how to bring those pieces together and how to evolve my business. How do I stay true to my purpose of supporting women in thriving in work life and motherhood? How can I help you to have more success with less stress whilst incorporating my wider expertise and experience? And so the work I've been doing over the last couple of years has finally come to fruition, and I'm really excited to announce that Wisdom for Working Mums is now proudly incorporated under my Luminate Group business. And this integration allows me to provide you with access to an expanded array of really my leadership development resources, but the support can be tailored specifically for working mums, and they're all designed to better serve you. And what I felt was by combining my expertise and services, I can empower you even more effectively as a professional woman with drive and ambition in your career, who also wants a fulfilling and healthy personal life. And that's what we really want, isn't it? So what does this mean for you? So over on the new website, you'll see an expansion of my services to support you. So Wisdom for Working Mums can be found at luminate-group.co.uk. So Luminate is Luminate, luminate-group.co.uk. And if you type in Wisdom for Working Mums, you'll automatically be redirected to my Luminate Group website. And for those of you that have done it, you may have gone, oh, what's happening here? It's not the old Wisdom for Working Mums website. But what we've done is incorporate that. And on the new website, you'll find all this amazing new stuff, including online masterclasses. So I'm going to be sharing bite-sized masterclasses in 3 areas around well-being, leadership, and lifestyle. And we have 3 masterclasses that we're waiting to share with you in September after the summer break. But in the meantime, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What topics would you like me to cover in these masterclasses? So if you could curate your own watch kind of binge list, what would you love to watch? It could be related to well-being, perhaps around burnout or confidence. It might be related to leadership, maybe around how do you effectively network or build your personal brand, or perhaps build and manage high-performing teams. It might be around lifestyle, perhaps exploring your core values or how your personality impacts your mothering and leadership style. I'm also going to be launching my online membership called Empower Her, and it's going to be a private community for women who want to thrive in work, life and motherhood. You'll get leadership and lifestyle development training along with integration support to bring that learning alive in your own life. But again, I need your input. What would support you best in your life, work and motherhood? Because by sharing your thoughts, you're not only helping yourself get the resources you need, but you're also helping other working mums too. So do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at nikki@wisdomforworkingmums.co.uk, or you can direct message me on social media, probably Instagram or LinkedIn are the best. And I hope hearing those insights is useful to see how I'm evolving the business. And I'm always evolving it with you in mind. What is it that you need to navigate your life with more success and less stress? Because that is fundamentally what the business is about. And thank you for coming on the journey with me, whether you're relatively new to Wisdom for Working Mums, or whether you've been following me for a while. Thank you for being a member of my community. And I'm really excited to offer you even greater support going forward, so together we can thrive in work, life and motherhood. So thank you for listening. I would love to hear your thoughts on what I've shared. And until next time, take care. If you've enjoyed this episode of Wisdom for Working Mums, please share it on social media and with your friends and family. I'd love to connect with you too. So if you head over to wisdomforworkingmums.co.uk, you'll find a link on how to do this. And if you love the show and really want to support it, please go to iTunes, write a review and subscribe. You'll be helping another working mum find this resource too. Thanks so much for listening.